Chapter 1. The arrival of doom. Veruca Salt sat by her window, absently twirling a strand of her hair as the faint hum of city life passed her by. It was an ordinary day in every sense of the word, nothing out of the usual, no strange occurrences, no unnerving whispers of ominous events. Until her parents walked in. "Veruca, darling, we need to talk to you," her father said, his voice a touch too upbeat. Her mother hovered just behind him, an anxious look in her eyes that Veruca didn't miss. She knew that look, it meant something was up. Something she wouldn't like. Veruca raised an eyebrow and closed her book. "What is it now?" she asked, already feeling the dread creeping up her spine. Her father cleared his throat. "Well, we have some exciting news for you." Veruca's stomach did a somersault. Exciting news rarely meant something she would find exciting. Camp Rockwell has reopened. The room seemed to tilt for a moment, and Veruca blinked, not sure she'd heard him right. "What?" she asked, her voice flat. "You're joking." Her mother jumped in quickly. "No, darling. It's true. It's under new management, and they've made a lot of changes. It's not as creepy as it was before." Veruca stared at them in disbelief, her heart thudding in her chest. "I'm not going back there," she said firmly. Images from the previous summer flashed in her mind, endless corridors, strange happenings, the eerie presence that always seemed to loom just out of sight. And Pete Wentz, she still shuddered at the memory of him being led away in handcuffs. She had no idea what exactly happened, but she didn't want to find out. Her father gave a patient smile. "It's different now. Patrick Stump is in charge." Patrick, Veruca echoed, her brain catching up to the words. Patrick had always been the sensible one in charge of music and camp activities, never the one lurking in the shadows like Pete. She didn't hate him, but running the whole camp. "He's taken over as the new leader," her mother said, "and all the other Fallout Boy members are still there to help. Except Pete, of course." Veruca exhaled sharply. "Of course," she muttered, looking out the window again. She could still feel the unease settling in her stomach. "But I don't want to go back," she said more softly this time. "I don't care if Patrick's in charge, or if it's less creepy. I don't want to be there again." Her father's expression softened, and he knelt in front of her. "Sweetheart, you have to trust us. We wouldn't send you back if we didn't think it was safe. We've talked to the camp staff, and Patrick has everything under control. It's completely different this time around." Her mother gave her a hopeful smile. "Besides, I'm sure some of your old friends will be there too. Wouldn't it be nice to see them again?" Veruca thought about her words, feeling torn. Seeing old friends sounded nice, but going back to Camp Rockwell? She wasn't so sure. There was no way it could be as harmless as her parents made it seem. But after much coaxing and pleading, she found herself caving. She could barely remember what she packed before she was stuffed into the back of their car, staring out the window as the familiar countryside rolled past. The road to Camp Rockwell stretched on, winding through woods and over hills, growing narrower as they went. As the towering gates of Camp Rockwell appeared in the distance, Veruca's heart pounded in her chest. It looked normal, even a little welcoming. The sign above the entrance had been freshly painted, with bright colors and a cheerful font. But no amount of paint could erase the memories she had of this place. Her parents pulled up near the entrance, and she stepped out slowly, gripping her bag tightly. Her palms were clammy, and her knees felt weak. As she approached the entrance, her eyes scanned the faces around her, most of them unfamiliar. Then, out of the crowd, a familiar voice called her name. Veruca. She turned quickly, spotting a girl with bright eyes and a wide smile. Emily Roberts. Her heart did a little flip at the sight of her old friend. "Emily." Veruca breathed, unable to keep the grin off her face. She hurried forward, meeting Emily halfway as they hugged. "I can't believe you're here." Emily laughed, stepping back to take a good look at her. "It's been too long." "I know," Veruca replied, her nerves starting to settle now that she wasn't alone. "I didn't even know you were coming back." Emily shrugged, her smile never fading. "Honestly, I wasn't sure either, but my parents insisted. And I guess," she hesitated, glancing around. "I guess it's not too bad this time. At least, not yet." Veruca raised an eyebrow. "You're not scared?" Emily laughed nervously. I mean, it's still Camp Rockwell, right? Veruca felt a chill run down her spine. Right, she murmured. The two girls exchanged a look, one that said neither of them was quite convinced that everything was fine. They had been through too much the last time to trust that everything would be sunshine and rainbows this summer. As they walked further into the campgrounds together, Veruca couldn't shake the feeling that something wasn't right. It was quiet to quiet. The kind of silence that hung in the air before a storm. She glanced at Emily, who seemed to be having the same thoughts. Well, Emily said with forced enthusiasm, here we go again. Veruca forced a smile, but deep down, she knew. This summer wasn't going to be like the last. It was going to be worse.